Of course, there is an important meeting lined up in Jackson Hole on Friday where central bankers from the world will converge and everyone will be watching what US Fed Chief Ben Bernanke has to say. So in the build-up on what to expect, let's welcome in Ketan Sakpara. He's Associate Portfolio Manager at EQ Capital. He's joining us on the phone line from New York. Ketan, thanks so much for being with us on NDTV Profit. There is an expectation that Ben Bernanke is not going to be making an announcement that would indicate towards QE3. What's your expectation?
Hi, good evening. Yes, absolutely. I don't expect Mr. Bernanke to make an announcement anywhere close to QE3 tomorrow. The fundamental factors that were responsible for him getting into QE2 last year, they just don't exist. Last year, this time we had core inflation of about 0.4%. Right now, in July, we had a core inflation number at 1.8%. That's quite close to the Fed's target of 2%. So on the inflation side, we are good. The core inflation, including food and energy, was 3.6%. Now, this solves the problem of inflation. Last year, we were worried about deflation. With these kind of inflation numbers, we are certainly not worried about deflation. So a monetary stimulus to avoid a deflationary scenario is just not a valid option at this point in time. Interest rates are at historic lows. So if historic low interest rates are not helping in creating jobs, the Fed operates on two mandates, right? One is to maintain inflation. The other is to create jobs. However, if historic low interest rates haven't been able to create jobs, I don't think a further reduction in interest rates by another 50 or 100 basis points would do any good. So I think the underlying fundamentals do not support a QE3 type of announcement right now.
So where do we go from here? 9.1% unemployment, slow growth, for how long?
I think we just have to get used to the fact that the 4% growth that we are used to historically, that is not going to happen anytime soon. The markets realize that in the last 1 or 2 weeks, and you have seen that reaction. Slowly, people are digesting the fact that we are in a slow growth environment, and that is going to remain for an extended period, at least for 2-3 years. I think the Fed chairman indicated that when he said the interest rates are going to be low for up to the mid of 2013. That was one indication that the economy is going to be in a slow growth mode for another couple of years.
So, Ketan, what's your expectation of what Christine Lagarde might say? Because there is a belief that there is a big divergence between what the US is expecting and what the EU nations are able to do when it comes to the sovereign debt problem. Because both of them are just pointing fingers at each other, saying you can't keep your debt down and you can't solve the sovereign debt problem.
Well, yeah, Europe is a whole new issue and totally separate, right? I think U.S. cannot certainly influence the European central bank beyond a certain point because there are 17 member countries and there is politics with each country. The two major countries are going to have an election in the next 6 months, France and Germany. So I think it would be, it relies more on the internal politics of the European Union rather than any external influence. Now, having said that, Angela Merkel has made it very clear that they want the European Union to stay. But on the other hand, they are not willing to issue Eurobonds, which would eventually is supposed to be the solution for the debt crisis. So they're talking one thing politically, and when it comes to implementing it from a stimulus perspective, from providing the funds for it, there is no implementation. So I think Europe has to resolve that conflict internally. If they won't resolve it, the markets will resolve for them very soon, as you saw a couple of weeks back with Greece. So I think they're running out of time, and the market has given them some window of opportunity where they can try to fix it, but if they don't, then the market will fix it for them.
What's the chance that the U.S. goes into recession again?
People have been throwing out numbers in the range of 30%. I think coming up to an exact probability it's very difficult, as you can imagine, with so many moving parts. However, I think from my understanding, the chances of U.S. getting into a second recession are quite low. What we think that will happen is that we will remain in a slow growth mode, but definitely not a second recession. Some of the problems that existed in the last recession, like we had an over supply of housing, bank balance sheets were over-leveraged, individual balance sheets were also over-leveraged. A lot of those problems have been resolved. There is no excess inventory. In the housing, there are some problems, but apart from housing, the other sectors of the economy, they are on a pretty lean inventory cycle right now. So some of the core problems that could bring in second recession type of environment, they don't exist. So the chances, I would say, are way below 50% for a second recession in the U.S.
All right, Ketal, thank you so much for joining us on NDTV Profit and sharing with us your views on what to expect from Jackson Hole and what to expect from the U.S. economy. Let's just quickly pull up the European indices and show you how they closed for the day.